Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Exploring Marketing Research. Chapter number 12, Part 1. Test Marketing. After studying this chapter, you should be able to know the basics of test marketing, including how experimental manipulations can be used to test marketing strategies in a real-world setting. Recognize the appropriate uses of test marketing. These are the two objectives for this chapter, for this Part 1. Test marketing. An experimental procedure that provides an opportunity to test a new product or a new marketing plan under realistic market conditions to measure sales or profit potential. Using test markets. Test marketing involves scientific testing and controlled field experimentation. As such, test marketing goes well beyond merely trying something out in the marketplace. Just because a product is introduced in a small marketing area before deciding whether to do a national launch does not mean a test market has been conducted. Using test markets, those who underestimate the need for a rigorous approach to test marketing often those who underestimate the need for a rigorous approach to test marketing often succeed in their test market but fail in their product launch. Test marketing is the most prominent type of field experiment. Using test market. A test market is a market experiment conducted in an actual product market, meaning under real world conditions. While we most often think of test markets in conjunction with a decision about the viability of some newly developed product, they are equally useful in examining other elements of marketing strategy. Using test markets. Even though test markets are not small-scale research projects, they do test marketing they do test marketing questions under a smaller scale than the entire market. So, before implementing a marketing strategy throughout the Pakistan, test cities such as Lahore, Karachi and Peshawar may be used to represent the way consumers in other cities might react. Test marketing, so one has to understand it is not just trying something out, but it is a scientific testing and it is a controlled experimentation. Effective uses of test marketing. Test marketing has three broad primary uses in marketing research. Each use can be broken down more specifically to look at some issues in close detail. The three broad uses are: number one, forecasting the success of a newly developed product; number two, testing hypotheses about different options for marketing mix elements; and number three, identifying weaknesses in product design or marketing strategies. Number one, forecasting new product success. Test markets have long been used as a pilot test for a new product introduction. While test markets can be complicated to implement, the basic idea is simple. A product can be marketed on a small scale under actual market conditions, and the results used to forecast the success or failure once the product is introduced on a large scale. Test marketing mix. Test markets are not confined to studying new products or product modifications. They also are equally useful as a field experiment manipulating different marketing plans for existing products. Any element of marketing mix can be examined with a test market. Identifying product weaknesses. Test market experimentation also allows identification of previously undetected product or marketing plan weaknesses. The weaknesses can then be dealt with before the company commits to actual sales launch. although often this use of test market is accidental in the sense that it isn't the reason for conducting the test markets. Huge sums of resources can be saved by spotting problems before the full-scale marketing effort begins. Often this use of test marketing occurs when a product underperforms in at least one location. Advantages of test marketing. The key advantage of test marketing is the real-world setting in which the experiment is performed. A second advantage of test marketing is that the results are usually easily communicated to management. Very often, the same procedures used in any simple experiment can be used with test markets. Disadvantages of test marketing. There are some disadvantages of test marketing. Number one is the cost. Company can incur a high cost for test marketing. Test marketing is very expensive. Consider that for most new products, companies have to actually create production facilities on a small scale, develop distribution within selected test market cities, arrange media coverage specific to those locations, and then have systems and people in place to carefully monitor market results. So all these factors cause high cost to the company. Disadvantages of test marketing. Time. Test markets cost more than just money. Test markets cannot be put together overnight. Simply planning a test market usually takes months. Actually implementing one takes much longer. On top of the time for planning and implementation, researchers also must decide how long is long enough. In other words, when is the amount of data collected sufficient to have confidence in drawing valid conclusions? So, test marketing takes a lot of time. Disadvantages of test marketing. Loss of secrecy. One drawback to actual field experimentation is that the marketplace is a public forum. Therefore, secrets no longer exist. In the case of a new product, not only does the competition know about the new product, but a competitor can sometimes benefit from the test market by monitoring the same dependent variables is the sponsoring firms. This may cause them to launch a competing product. In some cases, the competitor can even beat the originating company to the national marketplace. And there are several examples available for this loss of secrecy in the marketplace. When not to test market. Not all products introduce a test market, so it is not necessarily for every product to do the test market. Expensive durables such as refrigerator, automobiles, or heavy equipment are rarely test marketed because of the prohibitive cost of producing test units. Products that involve very little investment to get to the market are also not appropriate for test marketing. When not to test market, this may be the case with small modifications to existing products. If there is a small modification, there is no need to do test markets. In other cases, test marketing is used as a last resort because a new concept might be easily imitated by competitors. Secrecy is more important than research in these cases. A lengthy and costly procedure. Test marketing is a lengthy and costly procedure. It costs a lot of dollars to the company, and company has to be careful when not to test, and the company must be careful about the secrecy, and company has to put a definite deadline for the test market duration, that how long should a test market last. Selecting a test market. Selecting test markets is, for the most part, a sampling problem. The researcher seeks a sample of test market cities that is representative of population comprised of all consumers in the relevant marketing area. If a new product is being launched throughout Pakistan, for example, the researcher must choose cities that are typical of old Pakistan. Factors to consider in test market selection. So a researcher must decide about the population size, demographic composition, lifestyle considerations, competitive situation, media, self-contained trading areas for that particular product that is going to be used for the test market. So a researcher must give due consideration to population size, demographic composition, lifestyle consideration, competitive situation, media, self-contained trading areas, and overuse market secrecy. Company must be careful about a particular market where they can keep the secrecy of that product. Thank you. That's all for part one.